What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Right now, I'm not feeling too well, like shaking, like the anger inside of me. Like I just woosah, woosah. Gotta get it together. Gotta get myself together. Because all throughout the week, a lot of people said that this Cleveland Browns game was a trap game. It was a game that we should kind of be worried of. It was a divisional matchup. It was a game where the Cleveland Browns weren't starting Deshaun Watson. And that to me was the first point where I was like, oh, if Deshaun Watson was playing, maybe the Ravens would have a better chance of winning. And the way that the offense has looked since week 3 of the season, it's like, yo, they can't score 20 points in a game. So it's a no-brainer that the Ravens are gonna win. It was a no-brainer. Like, all right, so I'm not gonna be here long because right now I'm fuming. Like I'm fuming. So I'm not gonna be here long. I'm just here to get some things out, let you guys vent, let you guys talk about some things that are on your mind. But for me, I think that watching this game, the biggest issue that I had was, to me, this was maybe an outlook, just in my eyes, because I think a little bit different than most people. It was a preview to me of how the Ravens could possibly look during the playoffs. The silly play calling, the abandoning the run game, the Justin Tucker missed field goal, like all of these things are reminiscent to what has gone on in the past. I don't know what is wrong with this team. I don't know why we cannot have prosperity. And I understand. I get it, y'all. It's one game. It's one game. It's one game. And I shouldn't be mad. I shouldn't be so mad at a loss with just one game. The Ravens been doing their thing. Ground game has looked unstoppable until today because we didn't run the ball. We ran Derrick Henry 11 times. We abandoned the run. Anytime the Ravens get down by 3 or more points, it's like this team forgets how to run. And then you bring in the listen, the whole complexity of this game changed in the first quarter on 4th down and 1. We're down there at the goal line. And Todd Monken wants to get cute with the ball. Like you want to run the Wildcat with Derrick Henry. You take your best player off of the field and you run a trick play. Like, the fuck? Like, yo. And once that happened and they stuffed us, I'm like, yo, this is going to be a long day. This is going to be a long day because I see we haven't learned anything from the past. For some reason, we can't just take a game plan from the week before. And I understand each week that teams are going to be different and you play them differently, but our formula has been working. And now we want to get cute. Charlie Kolar on 3rd and 1. You still want to run this goddamn tight end sneak. And what does he do? All right, I'm gonna pass y'all. See what y'all got to say. Because to me, I'm furious. Like I can't believe this shit. Like I shouldn't be this upset after the game because once again, it's one game. The Ravens are gonna bounce back. They're gonna probably win 13 games. This 12, 13 games this season. But it's the fact that Jameis Winston hasn't started a game since September the 25th of 2022. 2022, excuse me. It is now October of 2024. 2 years since this man started the game. Cleveland Browns hadn't scored 20 points all season long. Jameis Winston goes 27 for 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, albeit he should have had 3 to 5 interceptions. But come on, guys. Come on. His first start in 2 years. And he doesn't really have any weapons. Nick Chubb just coming back from injury. He still ran for 50 yards. Cedric Tillman's their leading receiver. You got Jared Judy, outcast. You got Elijah Moore, outcast. You got nobody that scares you on offense for the Cleveland Browns. And somehow this guy throws up 300-something yards against his pass defense. Like, get it. Marlon Humphrey wasn't there. Nate Wiggins wasn't there. But y'all told me, not all of you, but y'all told me Arthur Millette was going to come in and stabilize this unit. He was getting burnt too. I told y'all he's a journeyman. He's not going to make a difference. And just all right, I'm sorry. Let me get in this chat and see what's going on because this is unacceptable that the Ravens should have given up 29 points to a Jameis Winston-led Cleveland Browns team with no weapons. And yes, we were missing some pieces, but JOK, Denzel Ward went out the game for them. They were missing some people too. That offensive line's decimated. It is no excuse for the Ravens to have lost this game. What's going on, Spencer? He says defund the defense or it needs to be on a short leash. Jose and Bradley told you for years, defund the defense. you could kind of foresee what was happening. Like, you're putting all this money into the defense. On Twitter, they were talking about Namde Matabike, talking about, has anybody seen Namde? I saw him at the bank cashing checks. I haven't really seen him on the field. And this is why we say don't pay $98 million to a defensive tackle, because a defensive tackle isn't going to change the game that much unless he's Aaron Donald. But y'all was like, no, he came through with a career year. Of course he came through with a career year. It was a fucking contract year. What are people doing contract years? They ball out unless your name is Brandon Stevens. So, yeah, I mean, but the Zach Orr thing, we'll get into that a little bit later. I can't put all of it on Zach Orr. Like, I honestly can't put it all on him, but he is not doing what he needs to do. What's going on, Keith? I guess that's the sentiment for everybody. Shug, I knew you would be here. Steelers fan. Let's see what you guys do later on. But right now, you are leading the division. You are the class of the AFC North, I guess. Brandon Buck, how you feeling? Pay the bills. Yes, Harbaugh needs to get a handle on his team. Yeah, we trapped ourselves. I mean, it was bound to happen. Like, we were due for one of the games where we didn't play up to the way we were supposed to play. And the thing for me that is going to be the headlines for tomorrow, the reason that I was dreading this game is because somehow that one pass that Lamar had to Zay Flowers that they kind of got some miscommunication on, they were going to put this on Lamar Jackson, saying that he missed throws when there were a ton of drops. I mean, a ton of drops. What's going on, Big Whoop? Yeah, it was a trap game. Kill, I'm not going to say the team's trash. The team's not trash. We have talent everywhere. It's just some miscommunication, some unenviable situations that the team's been put in, like just some things. And just the thing that killed me, was I knew we were going to lose this game because, one, when Justin Tucker misses a field goal, we lose 9 out of 10 times. Every time he misses a field goal, 9 out of 10 times. I think a couple weeks ago was the only time we really won a game when he missed the field goal. But the thing for me was when Kyle Hamilton had that interception, I said, oh, game over. I'm getting up like, yo, I ain't even got a stream today. Like, I'm going to let this ride. And somehow he bobbled it and he dropped it. And I said, oh, gosh. Once he dropped that interception, I said, yo, they about to score. And the very next play, Eddie Jackson, who, once again, another guy that y'all told me, oh, outstanding signing by EDC. Wonderful signing. He in his bag. He just collecting dudes. What's up with Marcus Williams? Marcus Williams could not have played that bad. I don't care what anybody says. Eddie Jackson dropped, 4 interceptions? 4? Was out of place 12 times? You can't tell me Marcus Williams was that bad. And for Orr to say that Williams had his best week of practice this week, what happened? Why was he not in the game? Why was Eddie Jackson allowed to be tortured like this for 60 minutes? Why? Where was the substitution at? This reminds me a little bit of, and it's not on the same lines of, the Super Bowl with 21. I can't remember your name, but they took him out the game for the Super Bowl and they got ate up. Like, you see your man's getting beat. Put the better player in. And clearly, semantics. But Marcus Williams is better than Eddie Jackson. I don't know. And Rashad Bateman, 2 drops. And it wasn't the fact that Rashad Bateman dropped those passes. It was the fact that he dropped 2 third down passes. The second one, sun was in his eyes. I guess we'll give him benefit of the doubt. But the drive before that on third down, he was wide open. And he dropped the pass. And this is why we said, go out here and get you a reliable receiver that you can count on. And not saying that Rashad is not doing better. It's not saying that he's not going to continue to make plays for Lamar Jackson. But what it's saying is come playoff time. Because these are the type of defenses that the Ravens are going to see when the playoffs start. When the Ravens get in the playoffs, they're not going to be playing the Dallases. They're not going to be playing the defense of the Buffaloes. Well, they might play Buffalo's defense. But they're going to see defenses that play a lot better. And we need guys that can catch the ball. Like, I'm fucking fuming. Excuse my language. Fucking fuming. Embarrassing press conference. Looks like Sleepy John is Zach. Listen, they're going to make every excuse and they're going to come in and tell everybody that, listen, we just need to get better, make plays and stack plays. Everybody was in position. We could have won the game. We could have did this. We could have done a lot of things. But guess what? We didn't. And on this one, for once, this may be the one and only time, mark it down, October 27th, 4:44 p.m., 4:44, Jay-Z. I'm not blaming this on Hobbs. I can't blame this on Hobbs. Hobbs did not drop any pass. Hobbs did not let interceptions go through his fingers. It was some things he could have done. He could have leaned on his offensive coordinator. He's like, yo, we need to run the ball more. We need to get Derrick Henry a little more involved. These wide receivers aren't really doing much today, so let's get this ground game going. He could have done that, but John Harbaugh was not the one out there on the field not making plays. And to the same vein, Zach Orr, I know a lot of people want to see him fired. I know a lot of people want to get him demoted or something, but Zach Gore was not the one allowing these plays. Some of the defenses that he called, some of the schemes on certain downs, yes, he could have done better. This is his 8th game. I'm not making excuses for him, but this is his 8th game. And I saw some people on Twitter talking about, yeah, you stupid. Same thing with Mike Macdonald. It's not the same thing with Mike Macdonald. Mike Macdonald did not have this collection of talent. Kyle Hamilton was not Kyle Hamilton when Mike Macdonald took over this defense. So Zach Gore is coming in with a little more in the cupboard, a little more to deal with than Mike Macdonald did, but he's not using his pieces properly. And to the same extent, these players aren't making plays. Marlowe was out. He's the only guy on the team getting interceptions. What happened to Brandon Stevens? Like, what happened to him? He's getting cooked by Elijah Moore all game long. And Elijah got let go by the Jets. And that tells you the type of level that he's on. But he is an NFL player, so you got to give props where props is due. The Browns just made the plays where the Ravens did not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. What's going on? Why did Henry take the snap? Man, I don't know. I don't know. Why is Eddie Jackson on the team? For me, I think there are certain things that's going on. I think the Eddie Jackson thing, I think the Marcus Williams thing, and some other players on the team, I think it's hubris. I think it's EDC's ego saying that, hey, I can't admit failure on these. Let's give them more time. I've even heard some Ravens content creators keep saying, let's give them one more week. We're in week 8, headed off to week 9. How many times can we say one more week? Let's settle down and give them one more week. You know what I'm saying? Let's try something else. Let's do this. Let's do that. No, time is running out. Like, we are getting closer and closer to the playoffs. And yes, it's personnel decisions. It's just like personnel decisions. Like, why was David Ojabo an inactive player for this week? This is another one of EDC's draft picks that we had to go out here and replace in free agency. And some of the free agents worked out, some of them did not. Why are we drafting these players that aren't getting it? And now you guys are telling me we need to trade for this edge rusher. We need to get that edge rusher. Luckily, we picked up Yannick Ngakoue off the scrap heap, and he's coming here playing well for us. Outside of that, these edge rushers aren't getting it done. And you guys are telling me we need to go out here and we need to get more defenders. Now, if the problem to a lot of views points is if it's Zach Orr, what is the point of getting the players if the scheme isn't matching? If the scheme ain't scheming, no matter who we bring in here, how is that going to make a difference? So trading for more defense, to me, I don't know. But we do have till the 4th of November, which is during the upcoming week, for the Ravens to come in here and get somebody. I don't know where they're going to get somebody at. Are we going to go corner? Are we going to go safety? I know we need to get offensive line, and that's another problem that we have. This offensive line did not look good today. For all the praise that we gave Daniel Faalele, it was too many times today I saw him standing out there by himself. Like, he looked like he was starring on an episode of Lost, and he was just on an island by himself waving at people like, hey, guys, you're going to leave me here by myself? What am I supposed to do? So I personally think the Ravens need to trade for an offensive lineman. Listen, Makari, he's doing the best that he can. He's struggling. Ronnie Stanley had a bad game. It's going to happen. I'm not worried about Ronnie Stanley, but the rest of this line, it's a little bit shaky. And these are the type of defenses, once again, that we're going to find in the playoffs. And this offensive line isn't getting it. And that's the problem that I see. I don't care. And I've told you this before. I don't give a damn about regular season statistics. I don't care how we look in a regular season game. It's what translates over to the postseason that is giving me pause for this team. The little areas that I see here and again that I'm like, that ain't going to work in the postseason. That's why I think we need to get an offensive lineman. We need to get a bona fide wide receiver. Zay Flowers, he's going to get his. Rashad Bateman, he's going to do his thing. Nelson Aguilar, wonderful catch for a touchdown, but said it on Twitter. Aguilar giveth and he taketh away. Like, his hands are just so inconsistent and you cannot depend on him. So a lot of people are calling for your man, Tez Walker. Apparently Tez Walker can't get on the field. So there's that. JB says, we lost because of the TI. What's that? What's the TI? Time of possession? I don't know what it is. Shout out to Ray Kingdom for the super chat. $2 super chat saying this is ridiculous. It really is, because clearly the Baltimore Ravens are the better team. Clearly. It's no doubt about it that the Baltimore Ravens were clearly the better, the more talented team. We have more experience. But what they do have, shout out for the sub. What we do have, though, is the offensive weapons. And I do think that the Baltimore Ravens need to invest more offensively. We've said this. I've said this time and time again. No defense in the NFL, I don't care how great you are, I don't care how great the players are that you have around you. No defense is always going to stop an offense. But if you can score consistently and outscore the other team, you are going to win. Now, granted, Justin Tucker hits that field goal, end of the game, all we need is a field goal to win. But then if you circumvent that, then maybe the Browns would have went for it instead of going for that long field goal that hit off the goalpost. So, you know, I mean, I don't buy into this notion of the Ravens need a big body wide receiver, because the Ravens throughout their history have had big body wide receivers that couldn't play. We need players that can play regardless of size. Two of the greatest wide receivers in the Baltimore Ravens history: Steve Smith, 5'9", the greatest wide receiver theoretically, technically, due to statistics, Derek Mason. He was 5'10". So to me, I don't care about big body. I care about, can you play? We don't need a big body wide receiver. We need a clutch wide receiver. We need somebody that can go get the ball when we need that third down. We need somebody with some wiggle that can make people miss. Now, Zay is doing his thing, but he can't do it alone. And this Cleveland Browns defense exposed a couple things, which I know we're going to work on, but like, damn, like we shouldn't have lost this game. The Steelers are playing too well. And then they put Russell Wilson into the lineup, and we don't know what it's going to be. And we have proven throughout the years we have a little bit of trouble when it comes to beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now we are a game back. We're a half game back at them right now. As of right now, they haven't played yet. Or are they playing now? I don't know. So, these are some things that we need to do. Yeah, that's going to be the talk tomorrow. What's going on, Dawn? Told you, listen, Bateman's not trash. Bateman's not trash. I will say Bateman's not clutch. And the thing that I personally see that's an issue with the Ravens and some of their skill players is they never, and you can fact check me and look it up, it's just going off memory, they never have back-to-back great games. Like, they'll have a great game and then they have a decent or solid game, or they'll go missing the next game. But the skill position players do not week in and week out have dominant type games. Now, Dave Flowers, he did his thing this week. He didn't have to do much last week. Lamar Jackson was doing his thing. JB says, we lost because of the things we know are problems. We won the last games in spite of it. 100%. 100%. And winning cures everything. And when you start winning and you win games consecutively, the issue that you run into is you mask problems. It's like, why do I need to change? Why do I need to fix this? Because we're winning games. But once again, in this game, for some reason, we went against our formula. Hit them with Lamar, pound them with Derrick Henry. Pause. We didn't do that. We ran the ball 11 times. And I knew at the beginning of this game, I'm like, yo, this game's got too much of a playoff feel to me. Too much of a playoff feel. And it's just amazing. You let this guy come off the bench and hit you for 330 yards. Jameis Winston. And I'm a Florida State fan. And I know Jameis Winston from back when he was in college. I know that Jameis Winston is going to give you at least 3 opportunities for interceptions. And there were times he threw them right at the defender. That first one to Eddie Jackson, Elijah Moore was standing in the corner of the end zone by himself, waiting and looking around. And he threw it straight to Eddie Jackson. And Eddie Jackson's like, I don't want none of this. And this is why we have an issue with defense. I don't think the issue with our defense a whole lot is they can't tackle, they can't cover. It's that they let the opportunities for turnovers slip through their fingers. I mean, I would have preferred, I would prefer to have Bateman and Hopkins. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah. I mean, Higgins dropped some passes too. Adams, he's dropped a few. He dropped his first pass as a New York Jet. He dropped some passes versus the Raiders. Everybody drops passes. It's just that when it comes to Rashad Bateman, his drops are a little more accentuated because people are kind of on the fence with him. People are kind of waiting for him to fail because he has not done or played up to expectations. So, his drops are a little more highlighted, and his drops are more in times of when we need him the most. When we needed those third downs the most, he let him go. What's going on? We have no pass rush. If Kyle Van Noy doesn't get to the quarterback, we don't have a pass rush. Everybody was excited for the re-signing of Odafe Owe. He'll flash you a good game every now and then, but he's not a consistent performer. He's not a consistent pass rusher. I'm still looking for Nnamdi Madubuike. I'm still looking for the $98 million man. I'm still looking for the $100 million linebacker, $70 million safety. Did Marcus Williams even play? I know they benched him, but did he play? We could get Cup if we wanted him. We should have drafted Cup because he was somebody that I was rooting for coming out of college. But we may have, if we drafted him, we may have kind of killed his career. So it's a good thing he went elsewhere. But if the Ravens really want Cooper Kupp, they can go out and get him. Los Angeles has lost a little bit of faith in him because he is injury prone. But the thing with us is we're not dependent on Kupp to be that number one guy and catch 100 passes. We just need him to come in, do his job, and kind of help out with the younger guys because this ain't going to cut it. But once again, it's one game, y'all. I shouldn't be this mad. I've calmed down. My nerves are a little bit better. I'm not shaky anymore. I'm not filled with rage because, you talk about the game. It's a little cathartic. You get some things off your chest. You know what I'm saying? And we've been saying this for so long, but, when guys have one or two good games, then here come the gatekeepers with the see. This is why we don't need. This is why we don't need. And for me, the biggest problem that I have is for 6 years, we've done this song and dance before. We've done a song and dance for 6 years throughout the regular season where we say, we don't need a wide receiver. We don't need an offensive line. Look how well they're playing. And then we get into the playoffs and we regress. And then we don't win. And it's like, oh, man, if we just had an offensive line or a wide receiver, and then draft time comes and you want to get a cornerback. You want to get an edge rush. You want to inactive Adisa Isaac. I told y'all, don't trust Penn State rushers. Nobody wants to believe me. They think that I'm biased against Penn State. No, I'm not biased against Penn State. I hate them. But it's certain players that I know you don't get from certain schools. Wide receivers from the University of Florida. Don't do it. You don't do it. I learned that with Travis Taylor. And for a lot of y'all not going to know who that is because that's early Ravens. Early Ravens. Travis Taylor, University of Florida. He was the first one that I was like, Agnes says that defense sucks without certain players. Agnes, without certain players, Agnes? Because they were doing the same thing with Marlon Humphrey. They were doing the same thing with Nate Wiggins. The only difference is Marlon has 4 interceptions. Nate Wiggins dropped 3-4 interceptions himself. Nate Wiggins is getting beat by people just like everybody else. So what difference are they going to make? And I do understand that Brent Urban went out and Michael Pierce. They really don't provide much pressure. They do stop the run, but that's not really helping the back end. I think schematically, us losing our defensive backs coach may have been an even bigger deal than losing Mike McDonald because they looked horrible. And yes, he got benched. I don't know if he ever came back in the game, but for some reason I got tired of seeing 39 around every play. Every time I see a big play, 39 is right there. And I'm like, yo, put somebody else in. Put Sanusi Kane in. I don't give a damn. This isn't working. Try something different. And I think that the mentality from John Harbaugh has trickled down to Zach Orr, where it's we just gonna keep trying and keep trying it until it works, instead of having in-game adjustments. And that's the biggest issue that I've had with Harbaugh and his coach teams throughout the years. No in-game adjustments. They play. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, let's not try anything different. We're just gonna keep trying it until it works, and nothing happens. What's going on, B-More Show? Make sure you go check my man out. Show my man some love. He out there putting in all his work. He says in the past season, at least, they stuck with the run. Today, they did not. And, of course, they lost. And, of course, I mean, this is what happens. And John Harbaugh knows it. He knows when we don't run the ball, there's a propensity that we don't win. But he doesn't really care. He lets his coordinators do what they're going to do, and we want to lose by that. He doesn't take control of his team. But, once again, I'm not putting this on John Harbaugh for once. I'm putting this on the players because they didn't execute. Like we dropped 5 interceptions, y'all. 5 of them, at least. And the biggest one of all, our best defender. He had an opportunity. He had an opportunity to do what he needed to do. All right. Shout out to Donovan. $5 chat says this team is undisciplined. Like the interception drop issue brought up by Hawes, but yet they still drop it, and now it's bled over to the wide receiving core. 100%. 100%. Our Darius was like, oh, yeah, we're going to get that fixed immediately. And we didn't. Like, it hasn't happened. The reason why I'm not 100% on the fire or train is because the players are in position. The players are in position to make the tackles. They're in position to get the interceptions. They're just not doing it. And coaches can coach to a certain extent, but then it's up to the players. And for me, these players have been together long enough, and a lot of them have played together long enough to know where they're supposed to be and know the things that they're supposed to do. Shout out to Donna for another $5 tip. It says, all this money on defense. Yes, they can make the plays, but they are quite literally handed to them. The wide receivers are inconsistent in big moments. 100%. You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. Like, they're there, but everybody still wants to go defense, and that's because we have been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed by this team. Even some of the brightest fans in the Ravens flock have been brainwashed to think defense is the way to go, because you can't tell me that y'all still want to put more into this defense. You want to go trade for a Max Crosby that's going to cost too much money. But when I say go out and get a Brandon Ayuk, oh, this ain't Madden, Hendo. We can't afford to trade for a guy and give him a new contract because it's too much money. But when it's a defender, we can find a way. We can restructure his contract. We can restructure his contract. But when it comes to offense, it's always the red-headed stepchild. They get by with what they got. We'll give them what they have, and let's hope that they make do. But with the defense, we need to play better. I'm telling y'all right now, the defense right now is not winning the Baltimore Ravens a championship. By far. The defense in 2012 did not win the Baltimore Ravens a championship. Joe Flacco and the offense playing out of their minds was the reason that we won a Super Bowl. Yes, the defense put in timely plays. The game that we won against the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning tore that defense up. It's just that we got interceptions on timely plays. So we don't need a defense that's out here shutting everybody down. It's number one against scoring, number one in turnover ratio. We just need them to make plays when we need them to make plays. And right now, they're just not doing it. I don't know if they need to bring in some kind of coach. I told them get Robert Saleh, but apparently he went and decided to go help somebody else. And yes, this team has no situational awareness. None. Facts. Piss whistle. Facts. He didn't drop those interceptions. He had the defense in the right place at the right time, and the players just did not get it done. And yes, when Lamar can't do everything, like, this offensive line was horrible. Horrible. And the thing for me, and the thing that the fans, because I know people are going to talk about, well, the offensive line plays better, the offensive line looks better. The thing for me is Lamar makes them look better. By Lamar being able to escape pressure and escape sacks, he's making it look like some of them guys are doing their job when actually they really are not. Like, guys are just running free out there. I almost said something. I don't want to make that comparison, but guys are just running free out there, and Lamar just makes them look better. And it's like, let's just hope that this is something that they can get together before the playoffs even start. Like, this is an issue, because we got to see Cleveland again. We got to see Pittsburgh twice. Houston, they look better today. I don't know if their defense is going to get up to where they need to be. I don't really know what D'Amico's doing over there, but these are some of the teams that we're going to see in the playoffs. And if we can't block and if we can't catch interceptions, we're not going to go to where we want to go. For the last 5 weeks, I swore to y'all, we were unstoppable. We were an unstoppable team. Like, I literally thought, it's no way this team's not going to score 30 points every single game. It's no way. No one can stop what we do. But Bill Belichick said it a couple of weeks ago. He said the only team in the NFL that can stop the Baltimore Ravens are the Baltimore Ravens. And this is exactly what we did with this running game. Like, we decided we weren't going to run the ball. We decided we were going to try trick plays. Like, cool. Trick plays when you up big and you want to experiment, I get it. But when you are in a close game, when you're in a game that you're losing, enough with the trick plays. We did the trick plays in the Raiders game, and we ended up losing because we tried to be cute instead of running for first downs. Right. Lamar Jackson's 22 of 33, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and somehow he's going to get blamed for it. And I think there were about 5 or 6 drops where he easily could have gone over 300 yards and possibly had another touchdown. But somehow the narrative is always Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson has been playing so well these last 5 weeks. They've been waiting for a reason to knock him down. They've been waiting for a reason to say, told you so. I told you Lamar wasn't as good as you thought he was. They've been waiting for this moment, and we gave them that opportunity. What's going on, TM? How you doing? Yeah. $70 million we paid DeMarcus Williams. And this goes back to, I couldn't think of it at first before the last stream when I said, when the Ravens went out and they signed Marcus Williams, the Ravens, even when it comes to defense, a lot of times, they never go and sign the best player. because the best player at that time was Tyrann Mathieu. And we decided that we were going to get Marcus Williams instead of paying Tyrann Mathieu. And I guarantee you Tyrann would have been a better choice than Marcus. And he's still playing well, where your man is not. All right. Shout out to the $5 tip from Weber. Conditional 5th round pick for D-Hop. That's dirt cheap. Defund the defense. 100%. 100%. Appreciate the tip. If you want to tip, there's a pin link in the comment. If you want to support the channel, I really do appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Appreciate y'all helping me out. I need this. I need to talk about this game. Like, I have stopped live streaming for a reason, but I just felt a need to come on here and talk about this game because I was so upset. Like, I needed to do something with this energy. Like, I needed to put it somewhere because it is ridiculous how we can have this talented of a team. We can have the best player in Lamar Jackson in the league, and then possibly second, third, fourth in Derrick Henry, 2 of the top 5 best players in the NFL, and we're out there struggling. We're out there looking like we don't know what we're doing. The defense is getting lined up, and they're not knowing where they're supposed to be. They're looking around, and the Browns are capitalizing on this. Like, it is ridiculous how this team is looking 8 weeks into the season. What's going on, telling you? Yeah, we out here dropping picks. I mean, we dropped a lot of picks, but that one by Kyle Hamilton, I think that one hurt the most because you expect Kyle Hamilton to make those plays, and that would have ended the game. Game over. He makes that pick, we walk it off, and we're 6-2, and we're leading the division. But yeah, and you're right. Harbaugh has never had us ready for lesser competition, and that's one of the issues that we've had with the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh is we play down to the competition. Now, the games that, hey, it's a juggernaut. It's the best team in the AFC. The Ravens are going to show out and beat them the fuck down. But you go against the 1-5, 1-6 Patriots, and somehow it's a struggle. Like, we do this each and every season, and then it falls upon the leadership and the head coach. What's going on, Eli? It says undisciplined football and stupid decisions not to take the field goal early in the game. Tied for the second most penalties by a team. Unacceptable for a team who has the greatest dual threat of all time. Facts. And I've said this so many times, that this team is undisciplined and you take on the personality of your leader. Now, John Harbaugh is a wonderful car salesman. Like, he can sell you any kind of car in any condition of any year. But when it comes to commanding a team and taking accountability for his actions and the things that he's doing wrong, he doesn't seem to do it. Like, he doesn't seem to do it. So those are the things that I think that the Ravens struggle with, is the fact that, one, your leader isn't holding himself accountable. You hear other coaches, you hear Dan Campbell get up there and say, "Oh, I shouldn't have called all the 4th down plays. I shouldn't have did this. I should have had my team prepared." John Harbaugh, no, I think we're fine. I think we're going to get better. And, this is just a reflection of one game. It's not a reflection of the season. Watch what we do from here on out. And yes, it is one game. It is one game, y'all. But the mistakes of one game can have a snowball effect on the rest of the season, because the National Football League is a copycat league. Teams see what you do. Teams see how you play the better teams. And if you beat them, they mimic what you do. So teams are going to look and see, hey, this is how you beat the Ravens. And I mean, it's really no secret. You get up on them early. The coaching staff is going to panic, and they're going to try to throw the ball. And if the wide receivers aren't doing what they need to do, we get into a big problem. Like, it is. Yeah, that's what it was. Malcolm Butler. Appreciate you. Yes. Losing to the Browns is really tough. I guarantee you, Eli, it's more than 8. We just missed 5 this game. Nate Wiggins has 3 or 4 himself. I guarantee you it's more than 8 interceptions. And who's that on? Who's that on? Losing your fundamentals. Who was that on? What are we practicing? What are we doing? Or told me Marcus Williams had the best week of practice he's had all season long, and then you don't start him. These are the lies that they tell us. And this is why sometimes I get upset with listening to the media, going on the websites, because y'all say a bunch of stuff that y'all really don't mean. And everybody eats it up. Yeah, we lost to Winston and Minshew. It's not a good thing. I mean, listen, if the Ravens would have said, hey, we're parting ways with John Harbaugh and we're hiring Mike McDonald to be his successor, I wouldn't have been mad at it, but that in itself is kind of unrealistic. You just had a head coach, albeit since 20 13. Hasn't had much success in the postseason, but he did just take your team to the AFC Championship game. It'd be kind of hard to say we're parting ways with him and we're making Mike Macdonald a first-time head coach. Now, if Mike Macdonald had been a head coach before, yes, maybe I could see that. But him not being a head coach, him just being removed from coming from college and then being a Ravens defensive coordinator, I don't see that happening. They really couldn't explain it away. It may have been the best decision, but you really can't explain that. You know what I'm saying, to the fan base. Fire or I don't know if I'm on board with that. I'm not on board with giving him more chances. I mean, I do think there needs to be a shakeup. I do think that something needs to happen, and I don't think bringing in a 74-year-old previous fired defensive coordinator, I don't think that's the answer. That clearly has not worked because ever since Dean Pease came in to help Zach Orr, the run defense has gotten worse. How'd that happen? So, yeah, they need to do something. I can't wait to get off here and listen to the press conference and see what John Harbaugh has to say about his defensive coordinator and make excuses for each and everybody. But this is really unexcusable. It's really unexcusable. Yeah. Every single opportunity. And it's like almost every year. Every time we get an opportunity to build on something or to take a command and lead in something, we fall flat. And he'll bounce back. But he's not the guy that I'm counting on. Me personally, he's not the guy that I'm counting on come playoff season. When the playoffs come around, he's not the guy that I'm going to look at and say, yo, I know he's going to make this play in crunch time. And I think what's going to happen is those two drops are kind of the reason why everybody's like, oh, Rashad's always wide open and Lamar doesn't throw him the ball because he doesn't trust him. If I don't trust somebody, I'm not throwing you the ball. He trusts Zay. Zay can drop 10 balls today. And next week, Lamar will still throw him the ball 10 more times. It's not the same way with Bateman because he's had too inconsistent of a career. I hope that he can do better. I pray that he can do better. I want him to do better, but he is not a second option. And he'll have a breakout game here and there. He'll come through and do some things on a timely basis, but to expect him to do this week in and week out, and those are us that want wide receivers, that's what we're looking for. We're not saying you need to get the Justin Jeffersons that's going to explode each and every week, but I need a guy that I know is going to get his 4 catches, at least 80 yards in the tub each and every week because Lamar knows I get you the ball, you can get it. And unfortunately, outside of Zay, he doesn't have that. Mark Andrews is looking better, but once Mark Andrews catches the ball, he falls down to the ground. That's not really helping. They're trying to get Isaiah Likely involved, but teams are kind of hip to what Isaiah Likely is, and they're doubling him down the field. Like, these are the problems that we have when you try to take away certain options. And then you take out your own option. When you say, you know what, I'm not running Derrick Henry myself. Cleveland's like, I don't have to worry about him. And that is a creation of our own doing. Like, I'm not getting it. Yeah. Yeah, Machiavelli the Dawn. This is not Harb's fault. And trust me, that is eating me up inside to be able to say that. Because I don't like Harbaugh. I wanted Harbaugh fired since the 2012 playoff run. Because I don't think he's a good leader. I think he's been lucky in certain situations, but this game, I can't put on him. Yeah, it's coordinates. But then, I mean, in turn, in retrospect, by process of osmosis, your coordinator's not doing well. It falls on the head coach for not pointing them in the right direction. But once again, I'm not putting this on Hobbs. I'm putting this on the players that didn't execute. Joanna Smoke, they're exactly who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. 100%. 100%. They're the Browns. And we somehow let them beat us again. They beat us last season. We let them beat us again. What's going on, Tarja? Appreciate you for dropping by. We just here talking some things. Shout out for the subscription. Appreciate y'all. Listen, we just here talking, venting, get some things off our chest. You know what I'm saying? One session while we went the Wildcat in the red zone. Okay, so you want to know the truth on why we did that play with Derrick Henry. The reason that we did the play with Derrick Henry is because that play has worked against us so many times. Like, our defense has fallen for that so many times, and Derrick Henry has thrown like 3 touchdowns against us. So they figured if it works against us, it's got to work against them. Except for their defense is a little bit more disciplined, and they didn't fall for it. Yeah, Justin Tucker. See, when Justin Tucker missed that 50-yarder earlier the season, and people were like, "Listen, Justin Tucker has to go," I was like, "He's a legend." Justin Tucker has been our offense for so many years. I don't think that he has to go. I mean, like, kickers miss field goals, but the field goal today, it wasn't the fact for me that he missed the field goal. It was the fact that the field goal came up so short. Like, I'm like, is he losing power? Is he losing leg strength? If it is, we may have to start bringing in some replacements. I'm not saying replace him, but have somebody in the wings just in case, because that field goal didn't even make it to the goalpost. And he's made a 68-yarder, so. Yeah, I mean, What's up, Dre? How you feeling? Make sure you check my man Dre out. My man over there putting out some great content. If you are a fan of hip hop, if you love the hip hop genre, hip hop music, listen, me and him, we grew up in the 70s, we grew up in the 80s, we grew up when hip hop first started and really became a thing. And if you like that kind of thing, make sure you go over to my man's channel and check him out. He's doing some great things. He's putting out more content. So make sure you go check Dre out. That's my guy, for real, for real. Yeah, will this be the last week for what? Nothing will be the last week for us. John Harbaugh does not make changes. He does not make irrational changes. He doesn't make off the hip changes unless it comes to an offensive coordinator where he really has to. I've never seen him in the middle of a season demote or let go of a defensive coordinator. He don't do that. He let them handle their business. But also, we've never really had a problem like this on defense. So we're in new territory. We're in new territory. It's the defense, bruh. Tucker got to go. It's the defense. Mahomes licking his chops and don't want to see the lines. Listen, Mahomes ain't licking nothing because he ain't doing nothing. I get it. Kansas City's winning. He's making the plays to win, but he's going up against some teams that his defense is dominating. Patrick Mahomes ain't dominating nothing. Now, if we'd have seen Patrick Mahomes these last 5 weeks, we got him. We'd have seen him in the day, it'd have been a struggle. It'd have been a struggle. KP says, "No, I'm done with Zach Gordon this defense, bro. They're gonna cost us a playoff run." No. See, and I've been guilty of this a lot, especially when I was young. I've been guilty of this. It's called misplaced aggression, and I used to have a lot of. I used to be angry about a lot of things from my childhood, from traumas. Misplaced aggression. No, KP. Zach Gordon's defense is not going to cost us a playoff run. EDC is going to cost us a playoff run. EDC put this team together. Y'all told me we were cooking when we signed or drafted this player that ain't doing what he's supposed to do. EDC came in here knowing damn well it should be enough. It could be enough. He constructed this team. So no, it's not the defense that's costing us. It's the team that he put together defensively when we said all along, build around your best player. Build around Lamar Jackson. Give him the pieces that he needs to win, not the defense. Because eventually they're not going to be able to stop somebody. And unfortunately, outside of the Buffalo Bills game, they haven't stopped anybody. Everybody has passed for 300 yards outside of Josh Allen. Everybody and their mother is throwing against this defense. And these are the guys that you put in. You didn't want to resign Ronald Darby. Cool. Some of you guys thought that Geno Stone was the man. You didn't want to resign him. Cool. You brought in Eddie Jackson. You brought in Marcus Williams. You drafted Brandon Stevens. And Brandon Stevens is not a bad corner, but you drafted a third-round running back, switched to cornerback, switched to safety, switched to cornerback. Like, these are your doings. You drafted an OA. You took an injured David Ajabo. You took an Adisa Isaac and a TJ Tampa. Like, this is EDC's doing. It's not the defense is doing. So, yeah, I think the aggression is misplaced on that one. Defense is bad. Receivers drop. We can't win with this defense. Monken had a bad game. And Monken's been in his bag recently. Monken has been doing his thing. I ain't going to hold you. Monken has been calling some beautiful games. It's just today he tried to get a little cute and maybe prove something to somebody. This is a divisional game. I don't care what the record is when you play in division. These games are so much tougher than it is playing anybody outside of the division. Don't get cute. Keep your identity and be who you are. That's all the Ravens need to do for the rest of the season. Be who you are. But unfortunately, we just can't seem to do that. Throw the whole secondary in the bin. The amount of drop picks this past week is inexcusable. Listen, you can't throw away Kyle Hamilton. You can throw the rest of them guys away. You Can't throw away Kyle Hamilton. And my thing is this. I don't want to project into what may happen next season, but you got to think about this. Before all the picks, before everything that went down, the Ravens were considering getting rid of Marlon Humphrey. He may have saved his job in Baltimore, but Brandon Stevens, contract year. So they were going to let him walk possibly season because the way he played last year, he was going to command some money. Arthur Millette, he may be gone. Or Darius Washington, don't know what they're going to do with him. But what are we going to do next year? What are we going to do with this secondary next year? TJ Tampa can't stay healthy. Nate Wiggins, he's going to improve just through experience of what he has going on. But is he going to be ready for a starting role going up against number one receivers all the time? Now, I understand during the games, he's gone up against some of the number one receivers, but it's only been for a few plays. Constantly and consistently going up against number one receivers for a season. What's going to happen next year? If the secondary looks this bad now, what's going to happen next year? Unless we get a new defensive back coach or do something. Are we really number 4 in sacks? I don't know. Are we? I'll check it out. I'm not for certain of this, but it's a possibility. It don't seem that way. I mean, what do you mean sacks given up? Or you mean actual sacks? Because that's hard to fathom. If we are number 4 in sacks in the league, it's a down year for sacks. Alaskan man, he will trade for a defensive player. He will. And the sad part is they'll trade for a defender, and the Ravens defense isn't going to get any better. And then you're going to say, oh, well, make sure in the draft we get a defender again. And yes, he missed the field goal. We're doomed. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. So who do y'all think? Who do y'all think that we need to trade for? Give me some names. Give me some names of who you think that the Ravens legitimately need to trade for. And I know a lot of you are going to say defense because defense is what's looking worst on this team right now. Edge rusher, I mean, yeah. Let me know who. Shout out to Donovan again. The team is undisciplined, like the interception drop issue was brought up by Hawes, but yet they still drops in. What was that first one that you sent me? Oh, my bad. That might have been the first one. This is it. My bad. The EDC fanboys are never going to admit that. Of course they're not. And this is the issue. And this is the problem that I have with certain people that love bringing my name up. They love jumping from stream to stream and bringing me up and bringing my name up. And once again, I'll say this, just in case you didn't hear me the first time. If you're going to quote me, don't paraphrase. Quote what I actually say. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. And my thing is, a lot of the people today, especially content creators and pundits and just people who analyze sports, they rather be right. They rather have their opinions heard instead of having an intelligent conversation explaining their side of what's going on. Everybody wants to be right. I don't want to be right. I only care about one thing, and that's getting Lamar a Super Bowl ring. If I'm wrong about certain players, I don't care. I was wrong about Tavius Robinson. I was wrong about Brandon Stevens last year. I was wrong about Travis Jones. I have no problem with saying that I'm wrong about somebody. But when you start getting to the other side, when you start getting to the protectors, when you start getting to the ones that hold that information dear to their hearts, like, never letting you go. When you start getting to those people, they never want to admit that, hey, maybe EDC hasn't done the best. What they're going to do is they're going to point out to you, well, he's made this trade. Well, he's drafted Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum, and he's drafted this person. He has. Like, nobody has 100% misses. But if you look at EDC having the most draft picks of any general manager over the last 7 seasons, and as many misses as he's had, just say, yo, my man ain't doing as well as I thought he had done. It appeared he had did well, but maybe not. Instead of saying that, you just want to point out where you were right. You will never admit to where you went wrong. And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of them fanboys over there. They just don't want to tell people how things went wrong. What's going on? Make sure y'all go over to Ravens Talk with Yolanda. She just hit 1,000 subscribers. Let's help her get to 2,000. So make sure you check out her channel. She is going live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to give her synopsis on what happened during this Ravens game. And she can tell you a little more eloquently than I can on some of the things that went wrong. She may have a special guest. She may not. Don't quote me on it. But make sure y'all go check her out. Kev. Yeah, taking them first 3 points came back to hurt us. Of course it did. And it's always hurt us. It's hurt us in the past. Like John Harbaugh never learns from his past mistakes. He just keeps repeating them. J. Duff. The final defensive possession from the Ravens looks scripted. We drop a pick to win and then go to the game touchdown to lose the game. Sometimes it does. Sometimes like you can only see these things in a movie script. It's no way you saw it. I saw the ball in his hands. I got up. Kyle Hamilton dove and had the ball in his hands. I got up like, yo, it's done. It's a wrap. Then he started the tip drill to himself and fell to the ground. I was like, this isn't good. This isn't good. The next thing you know, wide open. Cedric Tillman, the dude that has struggled ever since Cleveland Browns drafted him a couple years ago. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to be Anquan Bolden, just out here just wrecking shop. I mean, we can rely on him sometimes. I hope so, neither. I mean, listen, everybody has games like that. Everybody has bad games. It's just that his most prominent moments came when the game was on the line and the Ravens needed it most. And they were clear drops. Like, it wasn't like it was contested. It wasn't like somebody knocked the ball out of his hands. It was literally, I can't get it. Like, I'm done. So it's one game, y'all. It's one game, and it's one game. That's all I can say. Yeah, you could kind of see Lamar on the sideline dejected. Because Lamar said in his press conference, he said, listen, y'all, I'm trying to win games. All I'm worried about is going 1-0 each week to get to February. And how this team looks, I care about how this team looks. We can win, but if we don't win the right way, if we don't look a certain way, Lamar Jackson's still not happy with what's going on. Like, he doesn't want to be perfect, but he knows, like I know, none of this regular season shit matters. None of these statistics and none of this stuff that goes on matters. What matters is what we do in the playoffs. And when you prepare to play perfectly, that's when you play for perfection. And you may not reach perfection, but you play to the best of your capabilities, which is something we have not done in the postseason. And I can see where Lamar wants to go with this, and I can see why he wants the team to pick that level up. Lamar's picked his level up. Lamar has been playing out fucking standing. We are 8 games in, and Lamar already has 2,000 yards passing. So we haven't even reached the halfway point of the season. Lamar has over 2,000 yards passing and 17 touchdowns. So if we keep going, Lamar's going to have 4,000 yards passing. And he may beat his career high 36 touchdowns and still run for 1,000 yards. Because once again, with Derrick Henry, sometimes Lamar is still sometimes considered all of our offense. It's hard to say that with Derrick Henry in the backfield that Lamar Jackson is still the Ravens offense. Like, sometimes the coaches get lazy and just say, Lamar, make a play, win the game for us. Yeah, it's crazy that these wide receivers are getting traded for 4th and 5th round picks, and we're not jumping into it. Because they're going to say, listen, we could give up the 4th round pick. We could give up the 5th, but the salary cap, the way that the Ravens don't have money, it's not going to add up. And I think that with some of these contracts, some of the teams are like, yeah, I'll trade you this guy and we'll eat some of his salary. And the Ravens like, I can't give up a draft pick because I need to select all the players that I can. Because then that way, if I have more players selected, I'm going to hit on one of them. It's going to make my draft look good on one of them. Like, we have a lot of comp picks this year. Trade something away. Give it away. Like, get somebody, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you cannot consistently and constantly do the same things over and over, year in and year out, and expect different results. We've poured into this defense for long enough, and it has not brought us a Super Bowl title. It has not. So let's try something else. Let's go out here and get this offensive lineman to replace McCarr. Since he's the well-vested, best backup in the world, let's keep him a backup just in case somebody gets hurt. Let's get somebody to replace Fa'alele. Can Fa'alele become that right guard of the future? Maybe, but he's not it right now. Get somebody that can do the job. There are guys out there on the trade block. There are teams like the Tennessee Titans that are having wholesale fire sales. They know they ain't ish, and they're trying to get rid of players, get draft picks, and build for the future. We are just not trying to capitalize on what some of these teams are doing because we think that because we have the greatest equalizer in the NFL and Lamar Jackson, we don't need to compensate for things. The offensive line will be fine. Todd Monken will call the right plays until he doesn't. And hopefully it doesn't happen at the wrong time. I'm glad that it happened now in week 8. I hope that we learn from this and it doesn't happen come playoff time, but I need some assurances. I need to know that my quarterback's protected. I need to know that he has playmakers around him outside of a couple that if they get double teamed, we're in a heap of trouble. So that's all I'm saying with that. Yeah, every time they drop it. Yeah, I mean it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to know third round picks and above, 90 plus, 70 plus $1 million players and above on defense. And you can't stop Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and David Njoku with a guy starting his first game in over 2 years. All of this money, all of this talent, and you're letting this guy come in and just bludgeon you. And Jameis threw some nice passes. I ain't gonna hold you. It was some passes that, the dudes was right there. You couldn't do anything about it. But there were a lot of passes where this in that wide receiving core wasn't getting open. I didn't see an Amari Cooper out there. I saw some regular dudes beating a high-priced secondary, beating an overpriced defense, beating a rookie defensive coordinator. And hopefully, these are some issues that we can get fixed. This is going to be an interesting week because November 4th, 4 p.m., trade deadline. Will the Ravens make a move? Will they make a move? I don't know. So far behind on these comments. I do apologize. I've been ranting and raving. Yeah, Lamar playing. Listen, when Lamar plays 2-minute offense, they score. Like we can't be stopped. Cleveland didn't know what hit him. But then we want to go in and do the silly shit and do some other stuff. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. But they have looked better with Russell Wilson on the center. So we'll see. Listen, it has been 56 minutes, and I had only planned on being here for about 15 of them. What's going on? Appreciate you for dropping by. I see a bunch of new people in here. Listen, if you are new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button, share the content. I'm trying to get to 10,000, y'all. I'm trying to. Coach Evans, listen, sit the tally. Make sure you go over to Coach Evans' channel. Dope content. He gives you content for the Baltimore Ravens. He gives you content for the streets with more Sip the Tally tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Myself, Jose, Friday, hoping OTL Mike. Chris just joking. The coach will be at the Ravens Roundtable on Sip the Tally. Make sure y'all check it out. Also tomorrow at 10:30, 10:40, I'm going to be on the Flex Zone podcast. So make sure you come check us out as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, 57 minutes. Let's check out some comments and then get up out of here. Nathan Wells, kick the 3 on the first drive, get them going. Listen, we kicked that 3. Justin Tucker makes that first down. And we Gucci. Like, end of the game, we may just need a field goal to win it. And that's it. Deanna, shout out. I just had to bring that back up again. Shout out. They'll never admit it. Reg T. Like who we got. And he said it. We'll be fine next year. Let EDC knows. Like, he knows he's playing his fan base. He knows. He's like, yo, we're going to be good next year. I ain't too worried about this year. It is what it is. Xavier. Personally, none of those drop interceptions would have mattered if Kyle Hamilton had caught that one. That would have ended the game. Yes, you think your best player with the game on the line. Only thing I can say Kyle Hamilton's defense is it surprised him. It surprised him that he threw it directly to him. Like, he probably thought he may have fought for the ball, like he had to make a play or do something, but he threw it right to him. And that's what Jameis Winston does. Listen, that man doesn't have a 30-30 year for nothing. 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns passes, 30 interceptions. Like, he threw it right to him. And I think it kind of caught him off guard, and he didn't know what to do with it. But yeah, you would think that the best player that we have on defense, who to me I think should possibly be the defensive leader, would have made the play to save the game and win it for the Ravens, moving to 6-2, keep us at the top of the division, but it didn't happen. Trace used to get so pissed after a loss. Yeah, this one's frustrating, but it's nice to come here and talk about it. Our biggest issue every time is QB drops and their receivers are open by 3 yards every play. 100%. Like, it has to be cathartic to get it out and talk about it and not be mad, not run to Twitter and talk bad about people and tell them that they dumb and stupid and don't know football. Just talk about it. Let the aggression out. We'll stew in this for another day. Tomorrow we'll talk about it tomorrow night. Then we move on to next week. It's over with. There's nothing we can do about this loss now. We are moving on to next week. It's not looking good for us in the standings, but it is what it is. There's still plenty more football to play. It's a lot more that the Baltimore Ravens can do for the rest of the season. Like, they can pick it up and go on a win streak. This is a setback. Had the same setback last year with Cleveland. Same thing. Had a setback, lost the game, went on a win streak, number 1 seed. Yeah, that's where he went. Thank you, Deanna. He went to the Packers. Definitely a missed opportunity. Definitely. Trade for Garrett Wilson. I like Garrett Wilson, but he's got drops. He got the drop issues. Listen, Christian Kirk, I'm not going to hold you. I thought he was going to be a bust going to Jacksonville. When Jacksonville signed him as a free agent from Arizona, I was like, I don't know. But he balled out. Christian Kirk can play. I wouldn't be mad at it. But I think that Jacksonville is starting to get on a little roll, and I don't know if they're actually trying to get rid of people. I don't know. Hendo, would you believe we're number? Then I guess it is true. I guess it is. But here's the thing, though. And this is where statistics and numbers can lie to you. And it's cool. Number 4 in the league in sacks, it's cool. But it's when you need the sacks. That's what's most important. It's not what you have, it's when you have it. Like, the Ravens could have 0 interceptions on the season. And if Kyle Hamilton makes that play, and you can say the Ravens have 1 interception for the whole season, but it saved the game, that's what matters the most. It's not the numbers, when it actually comes. And when the Ravens needed to get pressure on Jameis Winston, they didn't do it. They couldn't find it. Odafe Owe was nowhere to be found. Oh, shoot, Lon, I didn't see you right there. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk about Owe. Sorry. But listen. Hey, Michelle, appreciate you. Ever since Nobody Came, Justice has been trash. Thanks. I listen, I don't talk about people's names and what they want to be called, but I was thinking the same thing. Once he changed his name, things have slipped up a little bit. Yeah, bit. But to me personally, I thought it's because it's just like Roquan Smith, his pockets got heavy and he just can't move around like he used to. Like, when you toting a lot of bills and change in your pockets, it's kind of hard to run around like you used to. It's a lot of dough weighing you down. Zay banged up right now, so what wide receiver is going to step up? Zay was banged up coming into this game, and he stepped up. I think he had like 91 yards receiving. Like, even hurt, he was still our best wide receiver. What's going on, Nana? Appreciate you. We need D-Hop when Steve Bisciotti thought he knew best and got that OBJ. Now, who has him? The Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are going to do, listen, Brett Veach is going to do what he needs to do to make his team better. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Kansas City Chiefs go ahead and make another move. Depending upon how they look today, the Kansas City Chiefs might go ahead and make another move. This ain't Madden, but somehow they seem to make plays and they seem to get players and they seem to bring in people to help them go on playoff runs. To help them go on Super Bowl runs. But yet and still, we make every excuse that we can not to go out here and get an offensive weapon. But whatever. Tyler stepped up, got bench. Yeah, I mean, that's cool, but I'm not really thinking that Tylan Wallace is the answer that we need as a consistent performer on offense. Now, special teams, listen. Hardy, keep him on injury reserve, let him do his thing, whatever, don't care. Let Tylan return kicks. He had a punt return last season for a touchdown. Let him do his thing. And Michelle, this is what we're not going to do. Ronnie Stanley is not horrible. You got to think about it like this. We're in game 8, and Ronnie Stanley gave up his first sack of the year in game 8. That's not terrible play. He's played against some dudes. He's played against some people. I mean, he did have the offside penalty. He just kind of leaned forward a little bit. He's not horrible. He just didn't have a good game. And that's false, Michelle. He would not have caught them balls because, one, Odell wouldn't have been on the field. That's one. 2, they didn't play him in the fourth quarters last season for whatever reason. So yeah, OBJ wouldn't have been on the field and caught that. Yeah, it is crazy. Chef Spicy Rice. Listen, I got some rice right there too, and it is pretty spicy, and it's really good. And I think it's time that I go eat my dinner. So listen, about to get up out of here. Still 107 people in here. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me for the last hour, getting a little bit off my chest. You know, in the beginning, I came in here, I was jittery and nervous and just the anger was just all built up in me. But I got a lot off my chest, and I appreciate you hanging out with me, letting me talk about the Baltimore Ravens, letting us get through this and move on to the very next week. So if you haven't, like I said before, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. I appreciate y'all too. Listen, we on this push for 10K. I'm trying to be like DoDash. Like, I'm trying to be like that one. You know what I mean? Like, she just went from nowhere and just blew up. I want to blow up. I don't want to blow up a whole lot because I don't want like a lot of people knowing who I am. Very private person. Appreciate you. But I want to blow up too. You know what I'm saying? But that's okay because I got a couple channels coming for y'all. It's a couple channels, a couple things we got going on outside of the realm of sports that hopefully you all will appreciate, and you'll get to know a little bit more about us personally outside of the sports realm, because sports can be very competitive and egos get involved and people just start talking, so you don't really get to know a lot about the person. So hopefully we'll get to see more of each other. Like Danny said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button before you exit. Make sure you check everybody out. I'm sure Coach is doing a show either right now or coming up soon. He normally does a call-in show after the game. Don't know his availability. Yolanda at 7 o'clock. I'm sure that LBHT after the Panthers game is going to stream tonight. Make sure you check out all of them, and also check out all the other Baltimore Ravens content creators, because we are one community. I don't care what side you're on. If you're on this side of the fence, that side of the fence, we all represent the exact same team. Like, we're all about the Baltimore Ravens. Just because people's views different don't mean you have to decide between who you're going to watch and who you're not going to watch. It's always good to get different to get differing opinions. Me personally, I like people to have different opinions from mine because you get to learn from them. You get to see where people are coming from. You get to see their point of view. So make sure you go out there and support everybody. And no, thank you, because I appreciate y'all, because without y'all, I would not be here doing this at all. At all. Yeah, it's time to go find a good movie to watch. I might watch Deadpool and Wolverine a second time. That seemed to be pretty decent. So appreciate you guys. I'll be coming out with a new video later tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. It depends on how I feel during the time. But until then, you know what I'm saying? It's your boy. I'm out. I appreciate y'all.